Hello there, welcome to Bryan Lomax Movie Talk and my review of Hellboy II: The Golden Army. This is once again directed by Guillermo del Toro, who wrote the script and was helped along by Hellboy creator Mike Mignola, who helped him come up with the story for this one. We get Ron Perlman back as Hellboy, Selma Blair as Liz Sherman also makes a return, as does Doug Jones as Abe Sapien, this time actually getting to voice the character he's playing. We get a new character called Johann Krauss, voiced by Seth McFarlane of all people. And the villain in this is Prince Nuada, who is played by Luke Goss. So let's start with that, actually. Nuada as a villain. Much better, I think, than the central villain we got in the first film. Rasputin from the first film, I wasn't particularly sold on. I was more interested in his cronies, I think. Whereas here, actually, Nuada to me is the more interesting villain out of all the villains in this. Maybe not from a look standpoint. I think, we get Mr. Wink. There's this big monster dude called Mr. Wink who has this metal hand. It looks a little bit like Hellboy's hand and he can kind of fire it from his arm on a chain. He's an interesting character, but he is the kind of villain who just kind of grunts and hits things. Nuada, I think, is much more interesting, as I say, than Rasputin. He is a twin. He has a sister called Princess Nuala. A less interesting character, I think, in this film. But yeah, they have an interesting dynamic in that whenever one of them gets hurt, the other one does too. So if one of them is cut, the other one is cut. No, I like the villain. I like his motivations. I like that he is a very deep-rooted fairy tale character. What I mean, he's an elf. He's a prince of the elf world, and yeah, kind of, you could very much see him being in Lord of the Rings. There's a lot about this film, actually, that really kind of excites me for the prospect of a Guillermo del Toro directed Hobbit, which obviously we came so close to getting. And the fact that we never will, as much as I love Peter Jackson, yeah, just seeing what del Toro does here with all these fantastical worlds and creatures kind of makes me regret us not getting to see his version of The Hobbit. But as I say, we get characters here that could very well be in that film, and Nuada is one of them. I like the fact that he's a very noble kind of character. He is literally just trying to get back to the way things in his mind should be. He feels that his race has become less than it should be, that they are now dwelling beneath city streets in sewers and places like that, when in fact they should be on top. I like him as a character, and I think that Luke Goss does a pretty good job, actually, as an actor in that role, as he did with his character in Blade 2, another del Toro effort. His sister Nuala, as I say, she's played by Anna Walton, doesn't fare as well for me as a character. She gets to be the love interest to Abe Sapien in this, which is a bit of a precursor to del Toro's Shape of Water. A fishman and a kind of interspecies thing going on. I think del Toro's got a bit of an obsession there with interspecies thing. Whichever way you cut it, it's still some form of bestiality, and I just don't think that the relationship either is handled particularly well. These two meet each other and essentially there's a spark straight away, and it's like, yeah, they're both freaks, so they connect on that level. It feels a bit rushed, it feels a bit kind of shoehorned in, not enough effort or work is put into it to make me invest in that relationship, to be honest. Johann Krauss, the new character, is fantastic. He pretty much steals the show, to be honest, which is quite surprising given that he has no face. It's all in his body movements, so he has two different actors playing the body. I don't know why, I don't know which actor was needed for which bits and whatnot, but then you've got Seth MacFarlane doing the voice. Now, I've never been a particularly big fan of Seth MacFarlane, it must be said, but here Gotta say, absolutely love what he's doing with regards to the voice acting in this. He adds a lot of character to this guy. He's amusing, but at times also has quite a bit of heart. And again, that's also within the way that it's written and directed. But yeah, I love this character. He's hilarious, absolutely hilarious. Some of the lines he comes out with, and like I say, it's the body language, the physicality of him, because he can't express anything with his face. They've got to do it in body language. And at one point, one of the characters does kind of make a jibe about that, makes a comment about that, which is kind of what the audience is thinking, and it is funny. It's really amusing. Hellboy as well also makes a few wisecracks at the fact that he's German. You know, he at one point calls him Kraut, and he corrects him and says Krauss, 2 S's. And Hellboy's like, yeah, SS figures, which I found quite amusing, must be said, on a basic childish level. Del Toro just gets to have a lot more fun here as well. You can tell there's an increased budget, which for him means more to work with in his playground. We get a lot more monsters, a lot more different creature designs. One of the most spectacular being this kind of angelic creature. Again, I think is played by Doug Jones, that has all these eyes and its wings, and it spreads its wings out, and it's just really majestic looking creature. Incredible, beautiful design. Yeah, absolutely love it. And I really regret that we're not going to get Del Toro's Hellboy 3, because I can just imagine having so many more characters like that in the third film that we're never going to get to see. But yeah, it's a stunning character just to look at, and like I say, there's many more where that came from throughout the film. As I say, Mr. Wink as well is very good. Little tooth fairies that we get in it as well, quite playful. Although the scene in which they attack everyone, in which Hellboy and his team turn up and they get attacked, it does stretch things a bit thin at times. Just the fact that they're able to descend on all the human characters and eat them to pieces like that, and yet Liz Sherman surrounded by them, picking them off one by one with a little handgun, and yet she's not getting bitten. Yeah, whatever. But hey, you know what? It's a fairy tale. It's an action film. I'll go along with it. But it does feel a little bit inconsistent that these things are so ferocious, with characters that may as well be wearing a red Star Trek shirt, and yet not quite so ferocious with our leads. The film follows our heroes as they are trying to track down the secrets to the Golden Army. So basically, Nuada is trying to take control of this long-lost army called the Golden Army, a very powerful army of robots that reassemble themselves and basically can't be defeated. And if you have this crown, you can control them. And due to some things that he does, he kind of forces our heroes into trying to track this crown down and bring it to him so that he can raise this army. But yeah, obviously they're not going to play ball. They're going to try and get in the way of that. Now, I must say, the Golden Army of the title are not that spectacular as far as Del Toro creatures go. I very much like what he does with practical effects, with creature design, things like that. Here they're obviously CGI, and if I'm being perfectly honest, they're a bit dull. So the final fight scene with them, there's kind of 2 final fight scenes. So you've got them, and then you've got the final one in which Hellboy goes up against Nuada. That one I find really entertaining, helped quite a lot by Luke Goss's ability as a physical actor. He does a lot of his own stunts, he does a lot of the physical work. So yeah, really impressive, and just a really good one-on-one fight sequence, which I'm always more drawn to, if I'm being honest. So when all these robots come alive, this Golden Army, I get a bit bored. So there's this prolonged fight scene with them, and it doesn't excite me for whatever reason. I don't know. That might just be me. But yeah, I'm more inclined to just want to get to the final showdown with Nuada, which when it comes is entertaining. There's a couple of other creatures that I would like to give mention to in here, because I just think they're pretty impressive. One is this huge plant creature. It's called like I can't remember what it said, it's some kind of tree god, but it starts with this seed that Nuada throws into some water and grows into this huge tree beard style thing. It doesn't have any, again, it doesn't have any facial features to speak of. You know, there's something there, there's a shape to give it some kind of human sensibilities. And yet they draw quite a bit of emotion from this thing. And when Hellboy has to make the decision to kill it in order to save his friends and save the people, the human beings, despite the fact that these human beings call him a freak and don't want him there, want to run him out of town, he has to make that decision, and it's a hard decision, and it's the decision that makes him a hero, because he doesn't take the easy route, he doesn't take the thing that, you know, based on how he feels, but on what he knows is right or feels to be right. So he protects the people, he protects the children, the women and the children. So yeah, it's a really good scene, and you feel for this thing, and you feel for Hellboy in having to make this decision. So yeah, really great scene, really great creature design once again, and a good scene between Nuada and Hellboy as well, because Nuada gets under Hellboy's skin in that moment. He makes Hellboy question why he's doing what he's doing, why he's acting the hero that he is when he isn't appreciated for it, when he's looked at in society as a freak, which is pretty much the whole point of this film, and to a large extent the first one as well. This idea, continuing theme that Del Toro touches on time and time again, which is that the outcasts in society often have the most to offer. There was another creature, as I said, there was two. The other one is this disgusting old lady that kind of, only when they have these glasses on, these special glasses, can they see the thing underneath, this kind of big blobby creature. But yeah, she likes to eat cats. I'm a bit of a cat lover, so yeah, I was really rooting for Hellboy when he wanted to step out and stop her from eating this cat, which is a nice touch. I like the fact that Hellboy is very fond of cats. There is another plot running throughout this between Hellboy and Liz, obviously. They got together at the end of the first one. Hellboy's a bit of a slob still. She wants him to clean himself up. And she finds out, thanks to Abe Sapien dropping it on her, that she's pregnant, which kind of stirs a lot of emotions in her. She's wondering if Hellboy, you know, if their relationship is really right, should they be together, this, that and the other. And that aspect of the film for me does feel a bit soap opera-esque. It doesn't, yeah, I'm not particularly tied into that. I'm more kind of tied into the fairy tale aspects of it, the possibilities of what Hellboy might be used for in the future, and this whole plot with Nuada, and the fairy tale elements, that kind of stuff. That stuff I'm drawn to, the more soap opera-esque, the relationship stuff in this film, not so much. The film overall, though, does feel a lot more focused than the first film. I like that we do have this villain whose motivations are very clear. They're laid out pretty early on, and yeah, it just makes the film have a trajectory that seems a lot more focused. I like the fact that Del Toro does get to play a lot more with effects and creature work. It's his wheelhouse, and he goes full on with it. He has fun, and as a result, we do too. So yeah, an improvement on the first film, must be said. A very solid superhero comic book movie, and I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Yeah, but what about you? Have you seen Hellboy 2? Are you looking forward to the new one without Del Toro? Please leave your comments below, let me know your thoughts, and until next time, crack in.